Research ethics involves the application of fundamental ethical principles to a variety of topics involving research, including scientific research. These include the design and implementation of research involving human experimentation, animal experimentation, various aspects of academic scandal, including scientific misconduct, whistleblowing, regulation of research, etc. Research ethics is most developed as a concept in medical research. The key agreement here is the 1964 Declaration of Helsinki. The Nuremberg Code is a former agreement, but with many still important notes. Research in the social sciences presents a different set of issues than those in medical research. The academic research enterprise is built on a foundation of trust. Researchers trust that the results reported by others are sound. Society trusts that the results of research reflect an honest attempt by scientists and other researchers to describe the world accurately and without bias. But this trust will endure only if the scientific community devotes itself to exemplifying and transmitting the values associated with ethical research conduct. There are many ethical issues to be taken into serious consideration for research. Sociologists need to be aware of having the responsibility to secure the actual permission and interests of all those involved in the study. They should not misuse any of the information discovered, and there should be a certain moral responsibility maintained towards the participants. There is a duty to protect the rights of people in the study as well as their privacy and sensitivity. The confidentiality of those involved in the observation must be carried out, keeping their anonymity and privacy secure. As pointed out in the BSA for Sociology, all of these ethics must be honored unless there are other overriding reasons to do so, for example, any illegal or terrorist activity. Research ethics in a medical context is dominated by principlism, an approach that has been criticized as being decontextualized. Research ethics is different throughout different types of educational communities. Every community has its own set of morals. In anthropology, research ethics were formed to protect those who are being researched and to protect the researcher from topics or events that may be unsafe or may make either party feel uncomfortable. It is a widely observed guideline that anthropologists use especially when doing ethnographic field work. Research informants participating in individual or group interviews as well as ethnographic field work are often required to sign an informed consent form which outlines the nature of the project. Informants are typically assured anonymity and will be referred to using pseudonyms. There is however growing recognition that these formal measures are insufficient and do not necessarily warrant a research project ethical. Research with people should therefore not be based solely on dominant and decontextualized understandings of ethics, but should be negotiated reflexively and through dialogue with participants as a way to bridge global and local understandings of research ethics. In Canada, there are many different types of research ethic boards that approve applications for research projects. The most common document that Canadian universities follow is the Tri-Council Policy Statement. However, there are other types of documents geared towards different educational aspects such as biology, clinical practices, biotechnics and even stem cell research. The Tri-Council is actually the top 3 government grant agencies in Canada. If one was to do research in Canada and apply for funds, their project would have to be approved by the Tri-Council. Furthermore, it is the researcher's ethical responsibility to not harm the humans they are studying. They also have a responsibility to science, and the public, as well as to future students. Key issues: in terms of research publications, a number of key issues include and are not restricted to honesty. Honesty and integrity is a duty of each author and person, expert reviewer and member of journal editorial boards. Review process. The peer review process contributes to the quality control and it is an essential step to ascertain the standing and originality of the research. Ethical standards. Recent journal editorials presented some experience of unscrupulous activities. Authorship. Who may claim a right to authorship? In which order should the authors be listed? See also, Asylum, a conference on recombinant DNA, Internet research ethics. References and notes. External links. TRREE for Africa provides a multilingual, free access and free training program on research ethics and regulation with a focus on sub-Saharan African countries. Research ethics section of the SHIP's website provides some useful resources, including case studies relevant to scientific misconduct, Scientists for Global Responsibility, INES Global, the Tri-Council Policy Statement, UNESCO, Ethics of Science and Technology, Ethical Practice, Principles and Guidelines for Research with Vulnerable Individuals and Families, an Ethical Protocol for Social Science Research developed by the Center for Children and Families in the Justice System, the Hinkston Group, an international consortium on stem cells, ethics and law, Johns Hopkins Program in Research Ethics, bibliography of peer-reviewed journal articles on the history of the use of deception in research, as well as on the histories of experimental ethics. http www.research ethics car research ethics car http www.researchethicsblog.com. The Research Ethics Blog, Worse Than Plagiarism, Firstness Claims and Dismissive Reviews, the Norwegian National Research Ethics Committees, Ethical Guidelines for Research.